everything. You're everything to me. You're everything to me. Hi everybody, welcome back to Level Up Loading Fight Feelings Face Facts with yours truly, Shay. Okay, so I'm coming back with part 5 of my moving to Tennessee testimony. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, hoping that this will be the last of the series. So let's jump right into it because I don't want to waste too much time dilly-dallying and talking about some nonsense. So I left off, got the new vehicle. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you so much, Father, because, you know, moving to a new place, you got to have something sturdy. I don't have nobody I can call down the street real quick to come pick me up from the side of the road. I don't have nobody, you know, within an earshot to get to me. So, you know, we have to be solidified and safe, so, and obedient. So God told me, get a new car like I told you. Yes, you haven't started your new job. Yes, you got new rent. Yes, you're in a new place. I don't care. Do you trust me? And I did. Like, this whole move is just a testament of the blind faith that I had. Everything that went into this move was me just being like, I've been on this ledge for this long, Father, and I'm leaping. The time is now. I also want to give an honorable mention because I had already been saving and all that stuff. But then on top of my saving to move, and also on top of not having to pay for gas and the bus, saving money in that way, not paying for going out because we were all quarantined, those stimulus checks came in handy on top of, you know, whatever I had already been saving. So although I know that there were people who had to use them for things that were a lot more urgent, I was thankful to be able to have those stimulus checks to help, you know, pad my savings even more. So anyway, my mom, my sister, we're in Tennessee. We're in my new place, new car outside, not having to worry about any type of towing or anything. So that's always a major plus because, like I said, the parking lot had already been paved. So basically, we're spending the next few days getting things together and also waiting for my delivery from my long distance move. So like I said, I got my car. I moved here on Wednesday. I want to say I got my car on Friday.
We don't care. Let me tell
Stuff still hadn't come. And so we're like hoping and praying like, okay, if it could come Saturday or Sunday because I start my new job on Monday. And of course, I mean, as much as I didn't want to be doing that right before I'm trying to get myself and my mind ready, I would have liked for it to have been here so that, for one, I wouldn't have had to hold my mama and my sister up for so long, you know, being here, because one of the main functions of them being here, other than just to help me, was also because I was going to be starting my job and there was going to be no one here to receive my package. You know, no one was going to be here to receive my delivery of all my new stuff. So they were here in that way. Luckily, like I said, it was during the quarantine, so everything was pretty much remote anyway. My sister was able to bring her laptop. Thankfully, I had already got the process started as far as with my Xfinity. That was one of the first things I did when I got here. And she was squared away, you know. So the weekend passed and of course no delivery. So I'm like, crap. So I'm going to have to go to work without having my stuff here. So my mom and my sister are going to have to stay until, of course, the deliveries here. So you have to think about this from Wednesday until, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 5 days. 5 days, y'all, of living in a house with my new space, with 2 other grown women when I have not lived with anyone, yet alone two other women. These two women who know me best, I haven't lived with anyone in forever. So it was like a stimulation shock, I guess you could say. Very thankful for them, but it was very, it was stressful because it's like, this is my new space. And then it's not a lot of space because, like I told you, I had just gotten the 1 bedroom just for me. Because I'm like, people are not going to be coming here that often. And if they do, they're going to get hotel rooms, or it's going to be, already set up to be ready for guests. We're here with nothing. So we're limited with space, limited with resources, because all my stuff is still in a truck, in a freaking semi-truck. That was a strain, but we got through it. Just me being a control freak, especially then. I mean, I still struggle with some control issues and things like that, but especially then, as far as like, I wanted to be a part of everything because this is my setup. This is how I'm going to be living. And so it was just like, it was just frustrating. But Sunday night comes around. I go to bed, get myself prepared so that, go to work the next day. It's my first day in my new company, in my new city, in my new state, and, whatever. Let's get up. I go to work. I leave them here. I leave them a key. If I'm not mistaken, I leave them the key. And I hop in my new whip. So they're pretty much stranded because, there's only one car. They came in the car with me. So, they're not stranded, but they're limited in where they could go and do. But we had already went grocery shopping. We already had gotten the generic things they would need. Overall, we had a TV still. The internet was on, so we had the Fire Stick so that they would be able to watch TV if they wanted to pass time. I get to work, get to the office, and they're like, well, actually, we're going to take you over to the other office, because I had to go to the corporate office, which was probably maybe 5-10 minutes away from the office I was going to be in. But I had to go to the corporate office so that I could sign my paperwork with HR. And so then after that, went over to my new job, and I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned in the last episode, but right in March, not that long, when I was trying to plan the trip to come here, right before COVID and all that stuff started, there was a very bad tornado that came and tore Nashville up. And if I can find some pictures and stuff just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, it was bad. So basically, my building was affected by the tornado. So the roof had been torn off. The place had been I want to say flooded and damaged, and it was not flooded, but water damage. The office was strewn about. It was very bad. And so they were just in the process of getting things rebuilt, getting the roof put back on. And I was welcomed my first day at this new job to a flip-out table, a fold-out table rather, fold-out table, fold-out chair. And I'm like, now mind you, I told you guys my job before I left Chicago, we had penthouses. We used to have, they would come around with a bar cart for us on Fridays. We used to have yacht parties and costume parties and, fully decked out West Loop office space. Very highly corporate, very yuppie, corporate type of energy. And so, listen, I'm no, what do you want to call it? I don't know, but I was judging. I'm not going to lie. I was judging. I'm clutching my little pearls, and I'm like, a fold up table and a fold out chair, and this is where I'm supposed to work day in and day out. And so I was just kind of like, this is what I came here for. I mean, you know, it's a means to an end, but get the job done. Look, it's been getting me through doors as far as with my place. Like, mind you, this is all imagined income I'm using to get my car and to get my place, because I hadn't even started yet. So this is like fairy tale income. So it must have been doing something good enough. So I'm like, just make the best out of it, Sharonda. We're here. We came too far to be questioning it. Just go with the flow. So luckily, within like the first couple months, they winded up getting us like our permanent desks and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. So back to first day. I'm sitting at this freaking folding table, and I'm like, ugh. And not only was I in a folding table, but I was also directly in the same exact small office with my new manager, who happened to be, I did not know this, he happened to be a hearing impaired guy. Actually, I believe that he was deaf, but he got the implants, which is freaking amazing. Like, oh my God, so amazing, because he could hear. It's not as crystal clear as, you know, of course, everyone, but he had an injury and he was able to get the implant and he was able to hear. But within working distance of that, all day long, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, even though we're right on top of each other. I'm also a person who, I like to be told what I'm going to do, give me my assignment, tell me how to do it, and let me do it. Like, I don't need to be micromanaged. I don't need you to ask me how's it going. I have a very good work ethic, and so yeah, that was interesting to have someone like literally right on top of you and then having to scream all day. I'm a very quiet speaker. Like, even sometimes after I get off of recording here, I'm like, my voice is shot because I'm not a huge talker. I talk a lot, but like in spurts, if that makes sense. I'm starting, you know, he's starting to show me the project, one of the projects he wants me to start working on. And I'm getting a call from the movie company. I literally have been at work for like an hour. This is my first impression. Now, mind you, they didn't have the very best first impression themselves, but this is my first day. I'm trying to, you know, be professional. And this is also, I'm working in the same office as a person who's supposed to be supervising me. You know what I mean? And so it's the moving company. Yeah, we're pulling into your lot right now, and I'm like, I'm the middleman for this, because I mean, obviously it's my delivery, but I'm at work now. Like, if y'all had came yesterday or the day before, I would have been there to you know, coordinate all this. I'm not even with my place at this time, so that was very frustrating. So now I'm on the phone with them, calling my mom and my sister, trying to get them to, you know, my sister's still working. So, like, I'm trying not to bother her too much. My mom is terrible with that phone. Like, that phone will be on silent or she will miss a call. And it's like, of all the times we need you to pick up, this is when you're supposed to pick up. So I'm calling her. She answers. I'm like, they're coming. And so then the movers called me back. He's like, we have a semi-truck. We have an 18-wheeler. We can't come in this lot. And if we come in this lot, then we're going to have to take all your stuff and move it. And it's going to be an additional charge. What? I'm like, wait, hold on. What? First of all, this is a very big lot. Now, I can't sit here and say that I have seen a plethora of, you know, semi-trucks coming in. But you have to remember, they were paving some of the lot. So some portions of the drive up was blocked off with their little tar things. So the tar company, whoever was repaving our lot, they were obstructing the view for this, not the view, they were obstructing the space for the 18-wheelers to be able to make it up the hill to get to my unit. And so the guys, he's like, well, we can get it to you, we can get you your stuff, but we're gonna have to get a smaller truck to come and get it, and then we're gonna have to come switch everything over to the smaller truck and bring it up there, and then we're gonna have to charge you even more. And I'm like,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I've already spent, I want to say, upwards of like $3,000 at this point on these movers. And yes, I had it, but you know, that was definitely not the way that I wanted to spend my money. So I'm like, okay, hold on, let me call the office. So I called the office, and after I called the office, I'm like freaking out because I'm at work. Now, mind you, I'm trying to be discreet, but I'm also like in the middle of my first beginning of my workday. Like, you just started and you're already on your phone taking personal calls all day. Like, come on now. Embarrassing. But I had to tell them, like, listen, I'm sorry. I'm trying to coordinate my move. They decided to come today. Y'all just gonna have to understand. At this point, I need my stuff, and I need it in a timely fashion. So I'm calling the office, and the young lady that was there, she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna go to the unit. We're gonna get this figured out. So I'm like, okay. So I call my mom back, like, the lady from the office is coming to, coming to the door, just so you won't be alarmed if she comes. Work with her, figure this out, y'all. Please, I'm at work. I have to, I gotta focus. Like, it's my first day. Luckily I had the foresight to count all my boxes and label all my boxes with numbers, and I had it written out in like a very organized manner. Shout out to YouTube, because that's where I got it from. It helps a lot, especially with me not being here to account for anything. So my mom already had the list, and as they were bringing in boxes and putting them up into the unit, she's checking them off. So luckily, everything was pretty smooth as far as that. They did say that it was very interesting to see this big old semi-truck coming up here, because, most time people move, they have like a smaller like box truck or something. But because mine was a long distance move and my space was just one of many that they're bringing, you know what I mean? I was just next on the stop. I had to work with what they had, and luckily I lived in a unit in a complex that was big enough to accommodate that, because yeah. I didn't hear anything else back, so I'm like trying not to freak out. Control freak is like, my brain's like, what are they doing? Oh God, I hope nothing's getting messed up. Nobody's called me. Nobody's told me anything. But of course they were handling business. My mom was, working with them and making sure they weren't messing up anything and all that stuff. So that she didn't have time to hold my hand. I just had to kind of trust that they would handle it. As a person who is typically used to just trying to do stuff on their own, that was very hard for me, but I did get through it. And I mean, I did have very qualified people here. Come on now. They're the ones that have a big part in who I am. So I knew that they would be able to handle it. It was just still, it was like freaking out, because I wanted them to come while I was there so that I could, be a part of that process. And so I guess they finally left. I'm still at work, and my mom calls me like, everything is in, they just left. And, I told her where the money was to give them and tip them and all the other jive turkey stuff. And she's like, well, did you want me to, start unpacking anything? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, okay, we got to draw a line here. I like help, but just leave everything alone until I get in. I need to be a part of this process. This is, as much as I want help, this is my project. This is my baby. I need to be a part of this process. And also, my previous place that I had left in Chicago, my mom and my grandma had helped to like move me. And while I was running back and forth, they were actually like, cleaning and putting stuff in locations. And I never, when I tell you never, ever felt like I knew where anything was. I never felt like I was looking for stuff to the day I left. And I was there for 2 years, because I just my brain didn't compute how theirs did. Like what made sense to them to put just didn't work for my system. So I was like, no, leave it, leave everything, leave it all. You've done more than enough. Y'all relax. When I get in, I'll take a look. If it's something I can delegate, I will. If not, just let me take over. I literally came in here after my first full day of work and got to doing boxes. I pretty much packed. I really was not playing, y'all. I was not playing. I unpacked, I would say if I had 45 boxes, that's being very, that's probably about right. If I had 45 boxes, I probably unpacked about a good 30 of them. My mom was like, oh my God, she's determined. Like, she's like, you don't have to do it all tonight. I'm like, I have the energy, I have the willpower, and then I have all this pent up, I don't know if I want to call it anxiety, but I have all this pent up, like, energy from not being here for the move part. So it was like all of that was just sitting throughout the day while I was at work, not being able to put my hands on it. All that energy came up as soon as I saw those boxes, and I was ripping out stuff and putting it here. Okay, this is going to go here. This is going to go there. And so they're like, let us help you. And I'm like, no, I got it. And so, I mean, they were helping. They were definitely helping. But listen, Tasmanian control freak Shay was definitely on the scene. And what else happened after that? Nothing else really happened after that. So I kind of was trying to like find stuff to do. Like I told you in a previous episode, I was already a part of a lot of like the Nashville channels and group chats and things like that because I wanted to kind of start to develop some networking and camaraderie. And so there were things that were going on that I wanted to go to, but I was so freaking scared, y'all. Like the streets were too dark for me. Like I felt so frightened, and it was a very stifling feeling because I'm like, I live here. Like I can't be like, this is September, so it wasn't getting dark super, super late, but it wasn't getting dark super, super early either. So it was like somewhere in the middle. And I'm like, I can't be confined to living here and being afraid to go out if it's dusk. Like, I just can't. I have to be able to, dusk to dawn, I need to be able to go and be and do whatever I need to do. So that was something I was really battling, but I was trying to find stuff for me and my sister to do. Like, maybe if I just rip the bandage out, and just go, I'd be able to do it. But it really just wasn't. It wasn't in the cards. My sister wasn't really like super, gung-ho about doing anything. Those two are very simple. They have their shows, their food. They're not really the go explore type. Like, they might explore a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Like, they're not the people who are going to come and just want to tear your city up and down, So, yeah, so, next day I'll go to work. Next day I go to work. Next day I go to work. And so, like, now at this point, I'm like, okay, when they leaving? I love y'all so much. I love y'all so much. But I'm like, okay, when they gonna leave?
You need to leave.
Because I'm thinking like, okay, my sister is still working, so obviously she probably gonna want to see the week through, because she is in the middle of her work week, so she's gonna be driving because they were gonna rent a car and go back, but I think they were having troubles finding rentals at this time, and so it was like days and days, and I'm like, it was nothing personal. It really wasn't. And I've apologized and I've talked to them about this way before this will ever see the light of day. But it was just like, okay, this is my new adventure. And we're going on 2 weeks. Well, it was like a week and a half. I was ready to feel that feeling of, okay, we're doing this. Because with them here, that was home. That was comfort. That was my home. I didn't get that feeling of like, okay, now what? We're here. We got to make this happen. So I was waiting to get that feeling, and it was being postponed because, like I said, they were still here. And so I was just, and then you have to think about this. Any young woman who their mom is around, you know, she wants to help, whether she wants to help, but it's like, well, Mom, no, you can't do this, but can you do that for me? And it's just like, Mama, like, well, I want to do this. Like, Mama, I just told you not to do that. I was telling you not to do that because of this. I didn't give you the explanation of why I didn't want you to do that, but I just told you not to do that. And so it was just, you know, it was just the mother-daughter thing that we've had going on, especially just not being used to living in the same close quarters like that. We had not lived together since 2012. So this was a good 8 years of, hey, you got your castle, I got my castle, and neither do they have to meet. Like, you come over to my place, I'll come over to your place. But it was never like cohabitation for more than an afternoon, a day type of thing. So that was like a reality check, like, oh Lord. But yeah, so they eventually they wound up finding. I apologized to them for being, you know, stank. I wasn't trying to be stank. I just was very frustrated, and I think I was having anxiety, which was making me a butthole, and then just being frustrated because I was ready to get that, I guess, dopamine of just like, I did it, you know. It just still didn't feel real with them here. So it was kind of like not rushing them out because, of course, I'm going to miss them. And I didn't even know when the next time I was going to see them. But it was just like, I need to have that moment. I guess kind of like how kids, when they go away to college, kind of how they feel like they're going to miss their parents. And yeah, thank you, Mom, for dropping me off. But like, okay, now get out of here. So I can start this new journey, you know. And so it's kind of like that. But I apologized to them. And, you know, we had a really good rest of our stay. And got to eat some good stuff, chill out. They got to relax. And that is pretty much it. That Saturday, they got them a car, and then that next morning they headed out, went back to Chicago. And it was surreal, but it felt good because now this is when, you know, the real work starts. That's when it's time to make a life here. It's time to find friends. It's time to find support systems. It's time to find loved ones and people that care about you. It's time to be a support system for someone and, you know, just help make Nashville a better place, because anywhere that I am, things will get better. Just saying. But yes, guys, I just want to say that God was very faithful in this whole move. Everything literally worked out perfectly, although it was not in my control freak, you know, way that I would have liked it. Literally nothing without a hitch. I mean, literally nothing was crazy. Yes, my car got towed, but guess what? It was right in this lot. Didn't have to pay anything for it. You know, yes, my car was acting crazy, but he had already made a way, already told me where to go, what to do, how to get the job done to get the new car that I needed. Just, he's so faithful. And I always like to think that when it's God, it's easy. When it's God, it flows. I think when things get a lot like convoluted and like super, like I'm trying to force something to work, that's when I start to question, is this in God's will? Is this something that he told me, or am I making this up? And that might not be the case for all things, but if I do feel that way, I usually take pause and try to redirect myself and reevaluate what it is and if it actually is in alignment, you know. But he showed me multiple times that I was in alignment, and I'm here slowly creeping up to 3 years here. I just hope you guys really enjoyed this. I'm very thankful everything worked out. I'm thankful to be here. I really love it here. It has the perfect charm, the small town with the city things. There's always things to do here. I have found a great poetry family that I love. I found some live music family. So I hope that this series was at least entertaining, gave you a scope of some of the things that I went through with this move. And I don't know that Nashville will be his final landing place for me. I like it. I love it so far. But it's always great to know that you can do something that you never did before in a place where you've never been before, and you can thrive. You can not only succeed, but you can actually make a difference. I'm just excited for what the future holds. Y'all still ain't found me no husband yet. But we'll work on that later. we got some more things that's a lot more important. Keeping my eyes on God. And I'm sure that when the time is right, He will point them in the right direction of me. On that note, guys, I hope you all have an amazing evening. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this was enjoyable. And I'll talk to you on my next episode. Bye.